This house don't feel like home. This house don't feel like home.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Not wanting to live in the shadows any longer, Winnie-the-Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger take their fight to the town of Ashdown, leaving a bloody trail of death and mayhem along the way. Now, that first movie was complete dumpster fire, but I found myself actually one of the very few who got some entertainment out of it. There are some of my peers who just thought that this movie has just ruined their childhood, or that it's just so bad that they didn't even bother with it. And with a lot of the ultimate hate that the internet has been giving it, has made my girlfriend and I feel the complete opposite. We went in knowing exactly what to expect. Once they announced that there was going to be a sequel, once they dropped that trailer and I got my tickets from Fathom Events, I was just very curious at how much farther were they going to take this intellectual property that would have author A.A. Milne rolling in his grave right now. After finally checking out the sequel that no one in the world has asked for, I sat there while the credits were rolling and I thought to myself, was that actually good? Like, I don't mean it in a way where it's so bad it's good. I genuinely mean that I enjoyed it and I had fun with it. Even for a schlocky below average horror flick, I was actually invested with the characters, their goals, and their actions, opposed to a blockbuster like F9. It was a big step from the first film in every way that it could be. Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet are back, and they've been given massive upgrades. From their redesigns, from masks to actual makeup prosthetics, they look pretty terrifying, especially in the up-close shots of their facial expressions. Now, I'm not too sure if the actor who played Pooh was being tortured during the makeup process, but zooming in on those blood-stricken eyes, it really looked painful to blink. And I was kind of let down that Pooh remained the silent killer, because he had one line that he could say in the last movie, but they just made him the one character throughout the entire group to just emote. I also want to give props to the cinematographer, because the way that he framed Winnie the Pooh while he was going on his raging rampage really left me at the edge of my seat. I was actually thinking, damn, he's really scary this time around. And I gotta say, I was a little let down that we didn't go back to how he could manipulate bees to his advantage. I thought that was pretty cool in the first one. Along for the ride, we finally get the horrific iterations and introduction to Owl and Tigger. I gotta say, Owl looks like that ugly creature that manifests during Natalie Portman's mindfuck in Black Swan. Owl can fly, which gives him much more of an advantage to stalk his prey, making him a little more versatile above the ground opposed to the other three. Tigger, on the other hand, stole the show for me. He's quick on his feet as well as his puns. With his xenomorph-like tail and his razor-sharp claws, he did not shy away from tearing his victims into shreds. But for those that he took his time on, definitely became the butt end of his hilarious one-liners. Scott Chambers takes over the role of Christopher Robin in this sequel, and thankfully, he is a much more focused and fleshed out protagonist than the last one. He has such a warm presence and such a kind demeanor about him, and his performance is quite impressive, especially the way that they handle his survivor's guilt and his unresolved issues with Pooh. We also get to flesh out his longtime relationships with his family and friends, and how they've supported him, stuck by him, especially when the town has turned their back on him and turned him into a pariah. Previously having worked on Summer of '84, experienced screenwriter Matt Leslie was the reason why the script worked so well this time around. Having said that, there is a lot more to the past between Christopher Robin befriending these anthropomorphic forest creatures, and this leads into a subplot which expands the mythology and unfolds a much darker connection. As emotional and headstrong as this section of the movie got, I felt like it dragged down the pacing. It was an interesting concept, but against the silliness and the campiness that it learned to embrace, it just felt so heavy-handed and dense. It just felt like oil and water. Addressing some of the ridiculous charm that this movie still holds on to with a bad rep, there are some practical effects that were wonderfully executed in clever ways to kill someone without showing every graphical detail. Also, some of the VFX work was rather schlocky. The bystanders that really add to the body count could not be a little more infuriating. You just really hope that they die a quick and brutal death. For example, that idiot who was taking a shower with his AirPods, or the one annoying girl who suggested her friend be the one to go check out the strange noise outside of their trailer. I also got a kick out of the one kid who was watching footage from the first film as part of his Halloween marathon, addressing and breaking the fourth wall that this was the movie that they made out of last year's massacre. And it almost made this movie feel more of a soft reboot, kind of an Evil Dead 2 situation, if you must. The third act was the showstopper I was truly excited for, and I gotta say, it was definitely up there with the ending of Hellraiser 3 and the rave sequence from Freddy vs. Jason. According to the directors, they actually left 20 deaths on the cutting room floor in order to keep the pacing structured, so I am more inclined to buy the Blu-ray when it comes out because they're throwing in all those deleted scenes. Also, Winnie the Pooh going apeshit crazy wielding a flaming chainsaw, I wanted more of that. Honestly, by the end of it, watching Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger take on their fight against the town, it almost felt like the low-grade team-up of Michael Myers, Leatherface, Pinhead, and Freddy Krueger in a way that I didn't ask for but was fully satisfied as a horror fan. With the pleasure of screening this with Fathom Events, co-writer and director Reese Frick Waterfield and actor Scott Chambers has revealed their assembly for the Poohniverse. Yeah, aka the Twisted Childhood universe. Not only will we be graced with the third installment to Blood and Honey in the near future, but we're also getting the horror iterations of Bambi, Peter Pan, and Pinocchio, and possibly more after their Avengers-like team-up. Oh yeah, I'm freaking excited. Bambi the Reckoning, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and Pinocchio Unstrung. Oh my god, those titles alone gave me goosebumps. Overall, this has not reached the low-budget horror glory as Terrifier just yet. I mean, it's on the right track, but we have got a lot more tweaks to work on. If you enjoyed the first movie, you're gonna enjoy of how tongue-in-cheek this is, maybe a little bit more. If you didn't enjoy the first one or didn't watch the first movie at all, well, I still implore you to check it out and go along for the joke, because I guarantee you that this is a much better viewing experience, even if it's just for laughs, than Madam Web. Oh, cross my heart. Seriously. Alright, that's all I got to share about that movie. By watching this review, you might have already missed this movie out in theaters, or you've already seen it, you enjoyed it, you hated it, whatever. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'm Jaren Agbanawa. Look forward to more reviews, and I will see you guys at the theater. Take care.
'Cause she don't